I can look back over the, my life, the course of my life, the history of my life, 50 years at this point. I just turned 50 in August. I can look back over the body of work so far, and I can see some common threads. There have been times in my career, there have been times in my life, there have been times in my in my I guess my goals, my achievement, my attainment. There have been times where I've absolutely dominated, and there have been times where I've absolutely fallen flat. And I can look at all of the ones where I dominated and see common threads, and all the ones that I fell flat, and I can see common threads. And it's important that you take a look at your life and start to piece this stuff together, right? Especially if you're not where you want to be, and you have more in the tank, and there's more ambition in and drive than you're demonstrating in your life and in your business, in the world. You got to start this. You don't have to. Let me take that back. You don't have to, but start to see the common threads and the common ties, and how your behaviors create or destroy your choices, and just understand your life up to this point. Really contemplate. Crack open a journal, crack open a journal, crack open a piece of paper or a whiteboard, and just start writing about what's happened in your life. And I journal. I really expose my soul in my journal, where I'm really getting radically honest with myself and what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling. And it really helps get some clarity. But when you do this, when you see the common threads, everything will start to make a lot more sense to you. I'm gonna tell you what I've witnessed or what I've seen in my life. All right. I'm gonna tell you a couple stories. First story is I'm a Marine veteran. So I'm a non-combat Marine veteran. So no stolen valor here. I served from 1992 to 1997, right between the two Gulf Wars. And I was a really, really good Marine, outstanding Marine, actually. So if you look at my record books, if you look at my awards, if you look at, the things that I did in 5 years, I had a pretty good run. I was a Marine sergeant, and there were people in that I was stationed with, and that I was serving with, that had been in 6 years that weren't at my level of service, and I was a sergeant in 3 years, a little over 3, maybe 3.5 years. And there's some people that were in 6 years that hadn't quite even touched that level of rank, of leadership, of authority. So I was on the accelerated track, and in a lot of cases in my life, I've been on the accelerated track over and over and over in corporate as well. But when I was in the Marine Corps, when I joined, I woke up on a Monday, and I decided to join the Marine Corps after never having thought about joining the Marine Corps. I joined, or I decided on Monday I was going to join the Marine Corps. I went and talked to a recruiter, and it's like on Friday I was filling out paperwork. It was pretty fast. Once I decide to do something, I go all in. Typically, I'm not a slow guy. But when I joined the Marine Corps, it was like I was joining, and I was convinced I was going to be a lifer. I was going to stay in, and I was going to retire a Marine, and I was going to just go for it all and see how much, how far I could take this Marine Corps thing. But when I went through school and I got dropped, it's called the Fleet Marine Force. It's where you're active, you're on active duty, and you are deployable. You are trained and you are deployable. And this is when you can be sent to a combat zone. And when I was in the Fleet Marine Force, I was stationed in my first duty station in the force was in Okinawa, Japan. And I joined my shop, and I was an electronics technician. So every Marine is a rifleman first and foremost, but every Marine also has a job, a military occupational specialty, MOS. And my job was an electronics technician. And if you were to go to combat, you had a rifle over your shoulders, but you're working on electronic test equipment that's keeping the helicopters and keeping the planes in the sky. So that was my job, my MOS, my military occupational specialty. So when I checked into my shop, I told anyone who would listen that there were meritorious promotion boards. It's where you went in front of a group of Marines and they drilled you and they tested your knowledge and they inspected you and they really looked at your physical fitness scores and they dove deep to see if you were kind of above your peers, if you were at a level above your peers, and if you were I guess if you qualified for promotion at that point, right? Meritoriously, not waiting around for advancement, like going and getting it. So anyway, I told my shop leads that I was, I wanted to go on meritorious promotion board. And the very first one that came up, I studied my ass off and I worked hard and I pressed my uniforms and I got my uniforms really, really polished and in good shape. And my knowledge was on point and I was drilling myself and I really, really went hard and heavy on preparing for this meritorious promotion board. And there were about 4 of us that went for my shop. So there's levels, your shop, your division, squadron, group, right? And you get promoted at group. So I went to my shop meritorious promotion board, and out of 4 Marines, I finished 4th. So out of 4 Marines, I finished 4th. And that wasn't a very good showing, but my his name at the time was Gunnery Sergeant George Foster. Gunny Foster looked at me and said, and I loved Gunny Foster. He was an awesome human being, and I lost contact with him. Gunny, top, because he got promoted. Top, if you're listening to this, if anyone knows Master Sergeant George Foster, United States Marine Corps, he retired some time ago. Anybody knows that, I'd love to get in touch with him. But anyway, so Gunny at the time looked me in the eyes and said, "You just weren't ready. You will be next time, but you just weren't ready this time. This time you were too green. But I guarantee you next time you'll be ready." Now, we had promotion boards every 3 months, and I went up for the next promotion board, and Gunny looked at me and said, "Are you ready?" And I said, I am Gunny. So I went up for my meritorious promotion board. Now, when Gunny said, "You will be next time," he saw something in me that I didn't see. But I worked my ass off in those 3 months to really, really polish myself and fine tune myself and really get in shape and my physical fitness score and all the goodness. And I worked my ass off, really, really hard work. And I'm not a hard worker. I don't espouse hard work, but it was fun because I was motivated and it was fun. It wasn't suffering. It wasn't struggle. It was good, hard, inspirational work. And I love that. It was fun. When you work hard, but it's fun. It's not really work, right? Anyway, I went up for my promotion board and I came in 1 of 1 in my shop, or 1 of 4. I finished first. And I went to the next level, which was our division, the avionics division. And when I went to the avionics division, I finished first again. And when I won that board, I went to squadron. And from squadron, they were sending 3 Marines to group. They were sending 3 of us. And I finished 2nd at squadron. And his name was Lance Corporal Reaver at the time. And we kind of bantered back and forth because we were in the same squadron and we were poking at each other, and he's like, "Gotcha. You thought you were a badass, but I gotcha." And I finished 2nd. And so, but me and Reeve, we both went to group, and there was another Marine with us. We all 3 went to group, and there were about 9 or 10 Marines at group going through this meritorious promotion board. And there were 4 spots. 4 of the 10, I'd say, I believe it was 10. 4 of the 10 of us were going to get promoted. And it was a panel of about 6, sergeants major, E9, highly enlisted or highly ranked enlisted personnel. And we went in front of the promotion board, and you're in there for about 15, 20 minutes, and they drill you and they test you and they inspect you and they just get to know you. And then they're going to look at the 10 and see who is like the 4 out of the 10 that are most ready to be promoted, right? They don't have to promote 4, but if there are 4 promotable Marines, 4 are going to get promoted. So I finished up the board, left the room. We're all collected, and we're all just stewing about outside of the room. And after the 10th Marine was interviewed and was drilled, was tested, and he had his board, we were all marched back inside. And in the room, he said, "Guys, you're all Marines. You were all like awesome. You wouldn't have gotten to this point if you weren't promotable. You wouldn't have gotten to this point if you didn't deserve to be here and you didn't belong, and you all did an awesome job. We're going to promote 4 Marines, and not in this order. Here's the 4 that are going to get promoted." And he said a name, and he said a name, and he said a name, and then he said Lance Corporal Kitco. And I heard that name, and it was unbelievable. It was exciting, but it was like surreal. Because at this point, there were Marines in my shop that had been in 5 years, and they were still a Lance Corporal, right? They were still at the rank that I was at right now, and I'm getting ready to get promoted. I've only been in 3.5 years. But anyway, so getting ready to get promoted. And that was the moment that I knew that I was going to be a corporal, a non-commissioned officer in the United States Marine Corps. And it was a big, big move. There's a lot that comes with being a non-commissioned officer in the United States Marine Corps. A lot of authority, leadership, a lot of responsibility, and it was awesome. I was ready for it, and I was excited for it. I was hungry for it. So we left the room, and Sergeant Major Dangerfield was our squadron sergeant major. So the level that I came from before we went to group. He came out, and he looked at the 3 Marines that were the 3 of us that had gotten promoted from squadron to group, or moved on from squadron to group. And he said he was so proud because all 3 of us were in the 4. All 3 of us were getting promoted. And he looked at us and he said, "You guys all made me proud, and I'm excited. I'm excited and I'm proud, and I couldn't be prouder of you guys." And he said, "I'm going to tell you the order you finished in. Kitco 1, Reaver 2, and the other Marine 4. And that's when, like, at that moment, all of that effort, all of the work, all of the study, all of the action, all of the excitement, all of the energy, all of the runs, all of the sit-ups, all of the pull-ups, all of the inspections, while everybody was out partying and I was studying, it all paid off at that moment. And I was going to be promoted, and I was going to be a corporal in the United States Marine Corps. And that was a big, big friggin' deal. Years later, me and Reaver still like poked at each other about, him saying, I got you at squadron, and me saying, "Yeah, but I took number 1 when it really mattered." So we beat each other up a little bit and poked some fun at each other. So my lesson, as I really look back at that, there was no doubt in my mind going through that process. There was not a shred of doubt in my mind that I would be promoted. There was this inner knowing. There was this internal confidence. There was this, it's like it was already awarded to me. There was an inner confidence. There was just such a freaking trust. I just knew with every cell in my being that it was a done deal. It wasn't overconfidence. It was just, I was prepared and I was ready. And the opportunity, when it presented itself, it was mine. And I knew it. And it wasn't cockiness. And it wasn't overconfidence. And it wasn't arrogance. It was just a deep internal knowing. I believed that I was going to crush that meritorious promotion board. And I did. It wasn't false confidence. It wasn't false bravado. It was preparedness, and it was belief in myself, and belief that I was prepared as well as, or more prepared than anybody else on that promotion board. and I got promoted. It's a very, very, very proud moment. Now, on the flip side, there have been times in my career, there have been times in my coaching career, let's say not just my executive level career, but there have been times in my coaching career when I doubted myself and I didn't trust myself. And I wrote a book called The Imposter in Charge. And I held such deep inadequacy and insignificance and insecurity. I held such freaking like lack of trust, lack of confidence. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe that I was talented. I didn't believe that I could achieve what I was setting out to achieve. And I fell flat on my face in those situations. I got fired twice in corporate within 20 months. When I knew in my positions, when I knew that I was prepared for it, when I knew I was talented, when I knew at the bottom of in my heart and with every cell in my fiber, when I knew I was talented and I trusted that talent, I got promoted and I crushed it. But in those positions, in those two positions, I doubted myself. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't trust myself. And I got fired. When I look back at my history, when I look back at what I've accomplished and where I've fallen short, the common thread is when I have succeeded, I have believed in myself. And when I fell short, I didn't believe in myself. Our belief, your belief, whatever you believe is true for you. Now, hear that I didn't say whatever you believe is true for others. It's not. Whatever you believe is true for you. Your beliefs, I know it sounds mystical, and I know it sounds woo-woo. Maybe this is I think we're on episode 71. In 70, maybe you've listened to the other 70 episodes and maybe you've heard this before, but you really didn't anchor to it. Maybe you didn't understand it. Maybe you didn't see the infinite truth in what I'm getting ready to share with you, what I'm sharing with you. And I hope if there's only one lesson you take away from any of these podcasts, these episodes, and anything that I've ever taught you or can teach you or will teach you going forward, if there's anything, have it be this: your beliefs become true for you. Your beliefs become your reality. Whatever you believe is true for you. Whatever you believe comes true. And belief is not just what you know, it's what you feel. Belief is in the body, not just the mind. Your cells, your DNA, your genetics, every fiber of your being believes what you believe, what you really believe. They're in your unconscious thoughts. They're in your subconscious thoughts. You'll see what you believe in your worries, doubts, and fears. Your beliefs are hidden in your worries, doubts, and fears. Your beliefs are contained and they're on display in your involuntary thoughts. What you believe is becoming your reality, has become your reality, will become your reality. When you believe in yourself, you will dominate. When you don't believe in yourself, you will fall short. What you believe, you make true. On other podcast episodes, I've talked about when you believe that making money is hard, it is hard for you. For you. Not for me, not for other people, but for you. Because you're making that true for you. When you believe that you have to work hard to make money and do things that you hate, do things that you don't enjoy, when you believe you have to hate your life in any way, shape, or form, or do what you don't love, if you believe that, it is true for you. It might not be true for other people, but it's true for you. If you believe that relationships are hard, marriage is hard, that's true for you. It might not be true for other people, but it is true for you. If you believe that making money is easy, it is for you. If you believe that health can come easily, it is for you. It will for you. If you believe that you can live like a life that you love every second of it, and you just you can fall head over heels in love with life. If you believe that, it is true for you. It becomes true for you. It will become true for you. It has become true for you. It's truth for you. Please look no farther. Look no farther for intellectual knowledge, wisdom outside of your beliefs create your reality. When you change your beliefs, you will change your reality. When you change your beliefs, your circumstances involving those beliefs will shift. When I doubted and questioned myself, fell short. When I believed and I was confident in myself, I crushed it. If I would have given up after that first board, the second board, I wouldn't have crushed it. But I didn't give up on myself. I didn't give up the knowing that I had inside that I would be meritoriously promoted. I knew, even when I went to the first board, I knew I was going to get meritoriously promoted. Even when I went to the first one and finished number 4, I knew I was going to get meritoriously promoted. It might not have happened in that one, but I knew it was going to happen. If I would have given up, it wouldn't have happened. And I would have you consider that if you give up before you achieve, you're just proving yourself right. You're proving the disbelief right. That's all you're doing. But when you have a goal in mind, when you have a knowing that an outcome is certain for you, it doesn't matter if you fall short 99 times, because the 100th time you will crush it, because it's already done. You just need to stay consistent and stay in motion and stay in action and stay in an inspirational state until the evidence appears that you know inside. Your beliefs create your outcomes. Change your beliefs, change your outcomes. The common thread: when I've fallen short, it's because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe that what I wanted was possible. And when I've crushed it, when I've succeeded, even starting this coaching business, I just knew. I went from never starting a business to double 6 figures in my first full year in business by myself. No overhead, no website, no nothing to support me, just me and my voice. Double 6 figures, first full year in business, 2017. When 2017 was a partial year. When I believe and I remain committed, it's certain. It's not in question. But whenever I doubt, then that's when I'm likely to give up. And that's when I just prove that my disbelief correct. How is this showing up for you? Can you look back at your life and see where you've succeeded and when you believed in yourself, and when you've fallen short, you didn't? Take a look and inspect your life, because by really understanding the common threads, a lot more will make sense. Believe in yourself. It's the greatest act of love that you can give yourself at any moment in time.